Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be playing a new facility created by Mr. T-Bell, aka Taco Bell. I don't know what the T stands for. It could be maybe something like Taylor or Tyler, it's probably a first name. Anyway, this is Pine Grove Facility, and this is kind of like a secluded foresty kind of facility that is more on the one-to-one scaling side of things and includes 3 tracks in total, 1 MX and then 2 supercrosses. So I'm going to do a few laps of each of them and I hope you enjoy the video. Right, we are going to start off on the MX track, and I just need to note quickly, so if I turn my reshade off, it's actually pretty damn dark in my opinion and hard to see for me playing the game in some places. Then with I have the reshade on, sometimes the contrast might be a little bit too much, so I think it might have gone the other way, but I'm hoping it is bearable for the most part. So let's see how this goes. Again, 3 tracks in total around here, and I'm going to spin a handful of laps of each, and there's this absolutely dirty rumour going around about me at the moment that apparently I've spun a minimum of 5 laps on each and every track so far before even pressing record, and it's completely true. So hopefully I should be able to get around these tracks in somewhat of a decent fashion to showcase it to the best of my ability. Now, what I learned over those few laps is the first Supercross track is pretty decent. The second Supercross track is a whole lot of fun. The outdoors track that we are on here, I think actually the 450 is a little bit overkill on, I'll be honest. Some things are scaled quite smallly in terms of the jumps. So if you are looking to rip around here yourself, then I'd recommend going on one of the smaller bikes. There's one big triple for the 450. And then other than that, everything else is very, very scrubbable. In the corners, so corners like this, there's at least usually 2 or 3 lines. And what he's done is the outsides are not super like tall in terms of the rut, but they're quite steep. They're like short and steep, so you can get the bike cranked over in them, but you've got like quite a small amount of wiggle room, a small margin of error that you can do before it will bite you in the bum. And then when you go to the inside ruts, they're just a bit more shallow than what we're expecting usually, which I think does a good job of slowing you down a bit, because like I said, the track is scaled on the smaller side, so to slow it down and have the bikes just have less average speed, I personally think is a good thing and plays into the track's strong points, so that you'll see how kind of shallow some of these insides are, but they're still quite viable, I would say, because you are covering a lot of extra ground if you're railing all the way around the outside, so to take a shorter line on the inside but just be slowed down a bit, I think it's a pretty damn good thing. 1 or 2 jumps I need to remember to check up on, so that double there, yeah, I'll try as well. You can kind of jump from left to right here, land on this inside rut, and I do think that will end up being quicker. And we've got a really, really short table here, up over that one. And then this next jump, I kept jumping off the far left-hand side of the track. You have to kind of line yourself up and jump to the right slightly. Then we'll scrub up and over this double. You can pre-jump off that braking bump to get into the corner here as well. This tabletop's kind of chill, and you have to scrub quite hard for this one too. Let me try a sharper inside. Don't get the best run for the rollers by hugging that inside there, but it's still a decent option, I would say. And then you have to brake for this left, because I kept jumping way off the track by hitting that straight wide open. And if you downside that double well, you can actually triple this whole thing after it. And then this jump here is the one that I don't know how 250able it would be. You have to put a little bit of oomph into it on the 450. I'm riding the Yamaha 450 a lot at the moment. More so because I just want to try and get comfortable on it. I mean, there's no like rumours or anything like that at this point. This is purely where my mind is at, just from things I see in Discord messages and this, that and the other. But I don't believe there's probably going to be an OEM update prior to Supercross 2026. So if that is the case, I really need to sort out this Yamaha hype and find a way to make the Yamaha comfortable for me, because I mean, you guys know at this point I always try and ride something slightly different. I've been on the KTM quite a lot, and then I tried the Fantic as well, and all bikes come with their pros and cons. That's just how it is. But to just do a blank statement, the Yamaha is the best bike for Supercross, and I don't think there's any question about it. The KTM can definitely be a viable option on some tracks, but you are a little bit underpowered sometimes, and the amount of agility that the KTM has sometimes can actually hinder you rather than help. So when a track gets to a certain point of your road towards the end of a race, the KTM comes really, really good. Like, it handles it like the road wasn't even there, it just charges straight through. However, all the way up until that point, the back end has a tendency to slide out quite a lot in the corners because it just doesn't seem to put the power down the same way the Yami or the Fantic does. And I think that is because of how agile it is. But I'm sure someone might be able to find a way of just maybe lengthening it a bit, just doing something with the suspension to try and get the KTM to put the power down smoother. I've even tried going as far as slapping the standard mapping on it. It just doesn't hit quite as good. And if you're in a rhythm section that maybe there's a quad halfway through there, and you have to downside the jump for it perfectly, you can't really do that over and over again on the KTM. Like, at least with the Yamaha, you get like half a bike length's worth of wiggle room where you can overjump the jump before slightly, or even tag the back end a little bit short. I tried the Fantic as well in some of the SMX rounds, and what I found with the Fantic is really, really fast. I do believe it's actually faster than the Yamaha in a straight line, at least per OEM team stats. The Fantic 450 is the fastest 450 in a straight line, but it's not good in a road whatsoever in my opinion. The front end really doesn't behave itself when the rough stuff comes in, so I kind of just leave the Yamaha left. I mean, it's okay in the road, it's not perfect, as I say, the KTM's better, but the way it puts the power down to the ground, it just seems to get so much more traction than any other of the 450s, and I don't really understand why, because some of the less powerful bikes, like the Suzuki or the Kawi, for example, you'd expect them to put the power down better because there isn't as much of it, but for whatever reason, the Yami just goes. So I need to try and grind the Yamaha a bit, get comfy on it, find suspension that I like, and then hopefully we can come into 2026, if there is a working anti-cheat at that point, and I actually want to compete, and we'll just go from there, and hopefully it goes a lot better, a lot more straightforward. So let's go back to the track. After all this chinwagon, I think visually it looks really, really good. My only complaint is that it's quite dark, and my old man eyes do struggle to see a lot of the time. But I like the way he's gone about adding the roughness with the bumps and the turns as well. It's not overly rough to where it's kicking you all over the place. You can still move the bike where you want to, but it's enough rough to where you have to think about it. You can't just go absolutely anywhere you want. You do have to try and be smooth on the throttle and the turning. Oh my god. And then there's quite a few small jumps that are smaller than I would expect them to be, but again, I think it's probably more tailored towards the 250 machines. And on the actual track's description on the MXB shop, he has said he's gone slightly more towards a 1-to-1 scaling, but when I show you the Supercross tracks in a second, one of them that definitely does give smaller scaled vibes, but then this one just to my left here does seem to be a bit more on the open side of things. So I'm not sure if he's just tried to give them two completely different feels to each other, but they are both unique in their own right, and they still feel pretty damn good as well. This is the Supercross 1 track, so 1 out of the 2, and this is the one that I think is more of the 1-to-1 scaling. And the first thing I noticed about this track is the berms. They're not very like steep. So if usually for me, for a Supercross berm, if I can bend my fingers, usually the berm starts shallow and then like bends more towards the top. Whereas these berms seem more like a perfect like straight line, more of a bank or a slope rather than a curve. So you have to be a little bit careful when it comes to turning, or you will slide out. But, and this is a big but, and I cannot lie, I am wondering if this is still normal soft soil or if this is soil, because you'll see as I get into this corner, grip's still pretty damn good. The front end doesn't feel like it's going to suddenly disappear from underneath me. I don't feel like the back end's going to swing around on the downside. And again, you can see it's not that steep of a corner at all. So I don't know. I don't know if T-Bell's just somehow found a sweet spot of what these bikes like, or what's going on here, but it feels pretty damn good. And this is the one actually that I spent the least time on out of all the tracks on here, so I need to try and get a little bit of a flow going. Come round to the right. I will say, whilst some of the rhythm sections are fairly fun and straightforward, in terms of the different options, it does lack just a tiny bit in that regards. I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. You have to open up this corner, then hit your triple, which I quite like how that corner's done, because you have to open up the corner to triple into the rhythm section. If you don't, you do leave yourself exposed to the inside, so someone could slide up the inside you and make the pass, and just double and carry on with the rest of their lap. But I'll show you what I mean. So here, you have to step onto this. There's no real opportunity to step over. The Dragon Spike doesn't give you enough pop. So then you have the same rhythm through here. Now this section, because of the jump at the end, you'll see here, you kind of have to double this way. If you don't, you end up jumping off that roller and basically either landing in the face of that jump, or you can jump over it, but it doesn't really leave you anywhere. So you're kind of forced to step on, step off out of this corner here. Alternatively, I tried to see if you could quad rather than go on off, but it's a hell of a stretch. So maybe with some road coming in, you could do that. And then I finally tried stepping over. You just go over the table, and then you triple. But again, you're kind of in this situation here now where you have to kind of roll this, which slows you down loads. So it does seem like the main line through that rhythm to get the right ending of it is just to go on off. This one here gives you a little bit more wiggle room. There's a little split section at the start, so you can change lines up there. And then the whoops are actually, they were quite tricky, but I've tried doing a little magic with my gearing at the moment, which kind of, it does affect how I ride around the whole track. And I won't talk about it in too much detail just yet, because it could be some new forbidden tech, so we'll see how it goes. But if it's something that I hang around and keep using, I'll be sure to mention it in the near future. I'll just, you know how you go into your gearing and you can adjust by how much speed first gear has, how much speed second gear has, third gear, so on and so forth. This is something that I think affects Supercross quite a lot, so we'll see. Oh, okay, that's not ideal. No, you know what, screw it, let's just talk about it now. So, I've got, my first gear is fairly long, so I can hit all the bowl turns, all the 90s, and most of the rhythm sections in first without having to shift, which just helps me be smoother on the throttle and I haven't got to worry about what gear I'm in so much. And then my second gear is, because I don't have quick shift on the Yami, I've only got quick shift on the KTM, one of the biggest downsides of no quick shift is you can't bang up the gears before a whoop section. If you didn't know, the higher gear you're in the whoops, the better the bike tracks through it. So what I've done instead is I've made second gear kind of long, so I can still get around the corner, you can hear it bogging, but I still get enough oomph to then be able to hit the whoop section after it. Then what I've done for third gear is I've made my third gear like disgustingly long, something like 90 miles an hour. And the reason for that is because, like I said, the higher gear you're in, the better whoops handle. But it actually is just tied to the speed. So I have basically an obsolete gear 4 and gear 5. I just need first, second and third. So I'm basically first everywhere, other than fastest straights. I'm second gear in corners just before whoop sections, then I only have to shift up once to third to blitz whoops. That's kind of working for me quite well at the moment. I get a good level of consistency from it. It's going to take me a little while to build up the muscle memory. I'm sure you'll see on the controller overlay, you'll see me pressing my square button in the air quite a lot, and that's just me trying to like downshift I would normally. Into the corners, just making sure that I'm in first gear. But I don't have to do that because I'm always in first gear. I haven't got to downshift any further. It's kind of just trying to simplify things for me, really. Sometimes in like super tight corners, it can play a downside because first gear does bog a bit. But I'll just show you again here. So I'm in first, I'll shift up to second, exit the corner in second, and I just have to shift up once to third, and it handles the whoops really well because it's actually a really tall gear. So mess around with it. See how it feels for you, see if you like it or not. And this second Supercross track is my favourite out of the two. It's opened up a lot. Okay. It's opened up a lot more. Quite a long whoop section here, way more than the usual nine whoops. Do not let Feld see that, they'll have an absolute nightmare. There we are, a little step off here, roller into a soupy triple. You can see how far away the rhythm sections are from the corners, so I think it definitely helps newer players quite a lot when that's the case. It really gives you time to set the corner up and then exit them quickly. It also has my favourite, almost done my best Jet Lawrence 250 impression there. I was about to say, has my favourite obstacle in the game on it as well. It was a little tyre tap, but I got that all kinds of wrong. But we rode away from it, so it's absolutely fine. We'll see if we can do better next time. When it comes to them tyre taps, you don't have to tyre tap it. Next lap round, I'll show you the way that I think most people will do it, because I'm aware that a full-on big tyre tap is probably above some people's skill levels without tugging myself off too hard. Second gear around here, shifting up to third, blitzing the whoops. These whoops are quite sharp, which is weird, because they look fairly rounded when you're going up to them, but you do feel the hit of the back wheel off each and every one quite severely, so they can be a little bit tricky to get through. Just going to triple, quad, triple your way through this section. And then, so what most people do is you'll just kind of, you have to just hit your front wheel before the top of it, and that'll give you a good angle. If you go into it, you have to hit front wheel first, because if you jump into it and you hit it like this, it will rebound you quite high, so you're not moving forwards anymore, you're going up. Whereas if you jump into it more like this, and your front wheel hits first and then your back wheel, your momentum will go more the way you want to go, more forwards. Should probably do a Lynd's Academy about that at some point in the future. Triple, double, and then I'll try and do the tyre tap properly again next time. You can jump onto that second table there before the finish, but it is a hell of a stretch. And it's really easy just to overdo the corner and slide out before it. Again, we'll come into here. I'm in second gear, obviously, so I only have to shift up once before the whoops. And then back down to second, back down to first. And over the dragon's back. We'll check up for the roller. Over the triple. And this one, I don't know why, this track just seems to flow really, really nicely. Go triple in. Hit the quad. Oh, I'm going to come up a bit short there. That's right. Then we'll hit the tyre tap. Nice little floaty jump. I do find that the inside here tends to work a bit better for me, because then, I say that, I fully jinxed it, you can just basically roll and then go triple, triple, triple. If you take the outside jump, you end up tripling in, and you end up just having to single into this corner at the end. Let me completely go over here again, I'll show you real quick. We're up. Oh, don't go for the boss. Don't do it, thank you. High tap again. So if I go around the outside and I triple in, I jumped a little bit, but you go triple, triple, triple again. I don't think quadding out's possible, so you do just have to jump into the turn, which can sometimes mess you up. And then trying to step all the way onto that table is a big old stretch. I do think that's more of a solo testing problem than anything else, because if you was to have this track up on a server and just have a handful of people, even with a really low amount of erode on, the erode would help you turn much sharper there, and would help you carry your speed to be able to step onto that second table easier. So that could be the way to go. Just flow up and over. The super sugars are fairly small, I've noticed. You do have to check up a fair amount for those. Triple in, trying to downside it as best as you can so you can get the quad after. Triple again. Put our tyre tap one more time. Floating over that triple there. Gonna check up. Roll. Oh, my rolls are off right now. Hang on. I think I know what I'm doing wrong. Let me just try and correct it real quick, just to make sure that's the case. So I think I'm hitting the roller at too straight on of an angle. When it comes to soaking up inside rollers like that, you really have to still be turning as you go over them. So you kind of come at this angle, sit down, scrub, and that keeps you lower. Yeah, that was better. That was cleaner. I'll give it one more lap, one more attempt, just so I can try and get a clean one in, rather than me stopping and talking the whole time. On, off. Floaty over the finish. Round to the right. I know what this has just given me memories of. Obviously the obstacles on the track are exactly the same. But in terms of the track layout, I'm pretty sure this is identical to the Kevin Moran's backyard supercross track that T-Bell made back in the day. In terms of like the floor plan, so where the straights, the corners are, the actual on-track stuff, and where the jumps are placed are completely different. So it's like on that Moran's track, there's a loop section just to my left here, rather than another lane over. But I used to love that one back in the day as well. So it's nice seeing T-Bell do some more supercross stuff. Oh no, that bow had collisions. Right, it kind of helped me actually, it slowed me down so I didn't take off too much. And then triple again. We'll give it one last attempt. Oh, I slid a bit, I don't think I'm going to get it. Oh, I came up way too short. So there you go, that is all three tracks here at... I actually can't remember the name of the track. It's got Pine in it. I don't know if it's like Pine Creek, Pine Grove, Pine Facility, Pine Meadows, but secluded, private, foresty facility. That's what we'll call it instead. So thank you very much, T-Bell, for releasing this for us. It's been a very enjoyable time. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, by all means, please feel free to drop a like or subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's very much appreciated. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I will see all of you in the next video. Peace. I want to give a huge shout out to the members of this channel. It is very much appreciated, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So there you go. I'm going to update this once a month. I'm going to display it at the end of each of the videos. So a little bit of love back to you guys. Thank you very much.